we're back for another episode, mate. We've got huge signing news, bigger than Dylan Brown.
I've been moved to number 14.
Oh, you're about to go to 18th man. Mate, huge signing news, big news for BTFU. We had a lot of fun with the show last year, and now we thought we'd evolve, and you've done a great job behind the scenes, and now we've got a special person that's coming to co-host. Every Batman needs a Robin, right? So we've got none other than NRL 360's most eligible bachelor, Braith and
Boys, how good?
How good.
Yeah, I'm on debut. Am I on debut? Is
You're
this
on
official?
debut, mate. You're officially a co-host, so
So I'm part of the...
you're leading as well.
Okay.
We're just a general
Who's
chit-chat.
Batman, who's Robin?
You're Robin.
Oh, wow. That'll change.
What am I?
That'll change real quick.
What am I,
That'll
Catwoman?
Yeah.
The Penguin.
The Penguin. Mate, Braith, how are you?
Good, mate. You know what? It's a lie.
Yes.
Pretty ordinary. I haven't pulled up so good from Vegas. It was good at the time.
Yeah.
But I hit a wall as soon as I got back, and I'm struggling a bit. Yeah. But
Yeah, talk us through it. What,
I think I caught something over there. I'm not sure what.
do you want to elaborate on that?
No, like influenza or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, or I thought it was COVID, but I tested myself yesterday. It wasn't COVID. I don't know what else could it be, but it's been a long week. But I'll tell you why. So we worked pretty hard over there. 360, 360, 360. The game day was like 14-hour day. Like we had 4 games, pre-game show, halftime, interviews on field. I called the Warriors Canberra game, which I hadn't done for a while, which was cool. Post-game, and then we had to do 360 pre-record on field at like 11:30 p.m. For an hour. And then, you do that after a 12, 14-hour day because then we fly back the next day. And then also I had Fisher tickets, so I had to bolt at like 12:30 from the stadium, Allegiant Stadium to the Fisher concert.
And what time did that finish up, mate?
5:30.
Yeah. What time was your flight?
I think it was like about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then come straight back and that's where I've caught something on the plane, I think.
I highly doubt that, mate.
Mile High Club.
What was that?
Sorry. Come on, mate.
Sorry.
I was next to Buzz, so I wasn't going to do that.
Talk about the experience, Braith. Obviously, being a part of it and getting to commentate. How was it?
No, it was awesome. This year, like I think we've spoken on this show before about the first year. The first year was huge and it exceeded expectations. Like the fans were going crazy and the setup there was amazing. This year was a bit different because the Warriors went, a lot of New Zealand fans, so that was awesome. They travelled and stayed at where we were at the MGM and they were everywhere. So that was probably a bigger turn up than I thought. And the Super League teams, the Warrington Wolves and Wigan Warriors, they brought a lot of...
They were very vocal.
Very vocal.
You could hear it through the TV.
So that was a success. So I think, it probably took a step up from last year. My first reaction after the game, and I said it on 360, was that 4 games were too much. No one was... And we said it on this... We said it on here. And that was I think we picked it because, 3 games is enough. Got to keep the Super League in because,
agreed.
You'd go Super League and then get 2 NRL games back to back, and the Super League guys will stay because they're singing songs and chants. It's like a Premier League game, really brought the atmosphere and the vibe. And then you also engage the Pommies as well, so it makes it more global.
I think you could argue that the Super League game was the most entertaining.
Well, yeah.
Even though it was a little bit of a blowout in score, I thought I got more enjoyment out of watching that game.
Then they had to sit through 3 games, the poor bastards.
Well, I sat through the girls.
And they ran out of piss.
And I love the girls. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a big advocate for the women's game. I've got a niece coming through that I know is going to make it. But that was poor. Yeah, no. That was a poor decision.
Well, I'm with you. And, it's hard to talk about because it's very political, right?
Absolutely.
I've got 2 daughters.
Yeah.
I'm raised by a single mother.
I
want my daughters to have the same opportunities and be successful, right?
Yep.
And I'm a big fan of women's sport. But they got it wrong. If they're going to do it, you do an Origin game or you do it against the Kiwis. So it's a we're showcasing the best of our women and in a brutal, more level playing field. You know, they just got it wrong. You know, and even I felt for the Gillaroos, you know, like even though they loved it and they won by a big score and they walk off happy, you know, when you break it all down, I think for the betterment of their game moving forward, it was just a mistake.
I think it was just it's a good learning experience for the NRL because there's a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
Right. So it's second year. This worked. This didn't work. We fix it again next year.
But unfortunately, they'll be the fall guy because it'd be hard to get rid of the Super League and from the broadcast next year. And I think the 4 games being too long, the women will probably pay the price, and I don't think it'll be the women next year.
Well, hopefully I'm over there next year with the Dogs playing. So I'll be putting my hand up for that trip, mate. Big news. And obviously you're in the management sphere. Dylan Brown, 10-year deal, thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it's a great deal for him. Enormous deal, 10 years, $30 million, and with the ratchet clauses in there and the ability to earn more money if the salary cap goes up, which it most likely will, he could probably be earning 1.4 a year. So it's a $14 million deal. I think for Newcastle, it's a bit of a roll of the dice. It's a gamble. I'm not sure if it's the greatest deal from them, but it's something that the desperate teams take desperate measures, and they needed to secure a high-quality player for a long period of time to entice Kalyn Ponga not only to stay, but that they can win a premiership, because Kalyn's getting a little bit frustrated, I think, and he's getting to an age, and I suppose he's playing that good too, that he wants to win a comp. And I think Newcastle are probably sitting back thinking, if we don't show evidence of us making moves and winning comps soon, then Kalyn's a risk of leaving. So there's a lot behind the deal, not just the transaction.
I think going off watching the game last night, Kalyn played a lot of first receiver. So I don't think he's going to come in as a traditional half on the ball as much as I think he's going to be sharing it with Kalyn, because Kalyn wants to be on the ball all the time. Yeah. I think Fletcher Sharp's outstanding too.
Yeah.
So he's a good asset to the team. I'm so happy for Dylan Brown. I don't care what any player gets. I think every player is underpaid. I just want to break down more so the management side of things and how you would manage Dylan, right? So what would you look at for the next 9 years if you did this deal?
You have to have a plan in place. It's a lot of money for a kid his age, you know? And I think, you know, it's easy to get the deal done, but then you want to make the most of that deal as well to make sure that you're leveraging the financial position that you're in. A lot of these guys sort of sign these big deals and not a lot, because it doesn't hardly been done. But you sign a big deal and then you're kind of 2 or 3 years into it, and then you're nearly done and you think, what have I done with my money, you know? So that's kind of why I do it as well, because I've been there and done it. You know, it's easy to sort of piss your money away, especially at that age. You know, you're prime. I don't know whether he's single or not, or I don't think he's got kids or anything like that. So, and he said he wants to set his family up, which is great. So you want to make sure that you can financially help your parents and your siblings or whatever his situation is. But, you know, a 10-year deal is a perfect opportunity to really just get in a room with the right people, right financial advisors, and come up with a plan. Property's obviously a big one, but then with a 10-year deal like that, you've got the opportunity to buy emerging businesses, your own business, create your own properties, your own, you know, whether it could be apparel, whatever it is. There's so many opportunities for him now with that security net of a 10-year deal and a minimum of $13 million to set yourself up for you know, for life and really be done with it. But yeah, that's the first thing I'd be doing. Like, I'd be getting professional help.
Would you advise any of your players on a 10-year deal? Do you see any the negative side of signing a long-term deal in terms of...
There's a lot of variables, mate.
Yeah.
I think, it depends on the player. Like, I think if I'm his agent, I'd say yes, you know, because he hasn't won a comp, hasn't really looked like winning a comp, would never get offered that amount of money anywhere else. This is pure timing. A club that's desperate for a half, that, yes, he'll only get better as a player, and I think he will, and I think he's going to be a good buy, but he would never get offered anything like that. Like, you know, Cameron was off a couple of years ago and didn't sign for 1.3. You know what I mean? So that's the type of money you're talking about. But so I would say yes to him. If I'd say, like, you look at Cameron, for example, if he'd got the same deal at his age, you'd be hesitant, you know, because he's a Premiership player. The cap's only going to go up and continue to go up. I mean, on average now, the cap's almost doubles every 10 years. So
we played in the worst era.
yeah, we did. We did.
Fucking rubbish.
We did, you know. Like it's true. Well, it's tripled since we played, you
Yeah.
know. So
And you were at the top end of that most of the
Yeah,
time, at the top end of the contract.
yeah, but that's what I mean. Thanks for that. Thanks for telling me. But yeah, no. So you know what I mean? Like it varies. You know, I think in Dylan's situation, you say yes. I don't. They're going to be few and far between. Like this is, you look at Taumalolo and DCE, the only other 2 10-years. And I think they had the same agents. I think.
Yeah, right.
The All brothers. So Taumalolo's hasn't worked.
Yeah.
DCE's has, but like just like I said the other night on 360, DCE's has, but Manly haven't won a comp. You know. So yeah, like he's and this is by no means taking anything away from him because he's incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love him.
Yeah, we all love him, but they haven't won a comp.
Yeah.
So
and that's what you're investing in that 10-year plan, right?
And that's what Newcastle are saying. We're going to because we want to win a comp.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're going to win a comp.
Yeah.
But so if you're going to spend that much on a player over 10 years, don't you want it to be one that you're going to be almost certainly in a grand final?
Yeah, for sure. So
you can't be certain that Newcastle's going to be in a grand final with Dylan.
No.
You know, whereas
Yeah. So that sort of leads into the next question. So what does Newcastle put in place to protect themselves in terms of like KPIs or, you know, the psychology? You touched on Taumalolo. Like, how does the club protect themselves in this 10-year deal?
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely clauses in this deal.
Yeah.
I know, and I think they're more in favour of Newcastle because of the amount and time of it. But like the All brothers are too smart to put too many KPIs in there against.
Yeah. What would a KPI look like in this kind of contract?
I think there's no. Well, the ratchet clause is one, right?
Yeah.
But that's if the cap goes up, his money goes up accordingly. But that's capped at 1.4 million. So just to get that out of the way, if the salary cap goes up, he can't earn any more than 1.4. So regardless of how much it goes up, so they've been smart there to cap it at that. Newcastle, not many contracts have a huge amount of KPIs in terms of performance. A lot around semi-finals. Like you can get KPIs around semi-finals.
Can you explain that a bit more?
Well, if you make the finals, then you know your contract goes to a certain amount of money.
If week 1, week 2.
Yeah, it varies.
Okay,
It varies. A lot of coaches have those KPIs. They're more common with coaches than players, but they can be with players. There's not players don't want to get too detailed because it gives them too many opportunities to sort of to fail. You know, like you know you can have your quiet seasons. You know, but there's not I'm just trying to think of there's not like KPIs on individual like accolades and stuff like that. Origin, you know, sometimes Origin you get bonuses if you make Origin teams and Australian teams, because if you're making the New South Wales team, it means you're performing great for your club. So there'll be often clauses in there, bonuses in there for Origin in Australia, because then your contract goes up with Clubland. But if you're not a regular first grader as such, there's ones where how many first grade games you play. So you might just, for example, if it's your first or second year in the top grade, they may have a contract. If you hit 10 to 12 games, your contract goes up by 100 or 200 the following year.
Right.
That's pretty common.
There was that kid last year, we spoke about it on the show.
They didn't
Remember?
play.
It was that one game.
Yeah, that's a tricky
That's
situation.
where it gets tricky.
That's where it gets tricky, right? You know, because clubs, he can't not argue that they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
For 20 grand.
Well, he ended up leaving, right, because he wasn't happy in the end.
And then they try to offer him an extended deal. That's where the club holds a little bit of power, right?
Yeah.
But it's
But you lose that trust. You lose that
There's
trust.
no trust. And then not only for that player, but maybe his close group of players that are around him as well.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, there's a lot of noise, and I know a lot of the greats have come out and spoken about this money, but I think that's the least of the conversation. We should be applauding our players for getting as much money as possible. Right?
I think everyone's been really everyone's sort of put themselves in Dylan's shoes and said, good on you, mate.
Good on him.
Like, I don't think anyone's gone, oh, what a dickhead. Like, no.
There's one thing I thought, like they talk about pressure. Would you put your head on the pillow at night thinking about the pressure? Like I'm earning all this money? Same.
Nah.
So I'm hearing like
I'm thinking about where I'm going to put the money.
Exactly.
Like
I'm sure he's getting a good night's sleep, right?
Oh, he slept like a baby, I think.
Oh, the pressure you're going to get to him, one team town, blah, blah, blah. Shut up.
Yeah.
He'd be fine.
No.
He'd be fine.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. I think we need to have more conversations around players not getting enough money. So happy for him. Happy for him. We touched on Kalyn briefly.
Yeah. Well, let's stick with Kalyn for a little bit longer.
Yep.
Would you have him as the best player in the game right now?
Absolutely.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, the back end of last year, he sort of showed when he was fit, because coming back from a Liz Frank, it's a 6-month injury, maybe more. But his positional play against the Tigers last week, like if you watch off the ball and where he was in behind the ruck, ghosting at A, which is like a fake defender, getting across field to get into the in-goal area off a kick, making it out of the in-goal. Positionally, he's been fantastic. In attack, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
He's everywhere. You can't not argue, based off the 2 games we've seen so far, that he's the best player in the game.
Yeah, his defence was unbelievable last week. And again, last night, I think you got to look at it because if you're looking at best players in the game right now, for a period of time too, because his semi-final series last year, mate, he nearly got them through.
That's right.
Off individual brilliance. Like he was a pass away, I think it was up North Queensland.
That's right. You're right.
He was the best player. That day I said he's the best player in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like that's even Cleary as well. Because Cleary's, I mean, you can't argue with him, but he's the only competitor. He's the only competitor. They're different players. Different squads. You know, you got Kalyn carrying Newcastle. Like last night, it was 20-0 and he thrown the last pass for all 4 tries. Like he was all 4 tries. And he was right, left. And he was first receiver, second receiver. It was everywhere. He played half, 5'8" fullback.
Captain coach.
He was everywhere.
Yeah. The press conference was great.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
No.
Yeah, they pressed him on, look, there's still some outside noise that you potentially want to leave. And he said, did my performance look like I want to leave?
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah,
he pretty
great.
much just went back at him and I thought, good on him.
I think there's a difference between people saying he wants to leave. I don't think he wants to leave, right? This is where people get sort of confused. He doesn't want to leave. He loves the joint. I know that because when I went up to Newcastle with Jonah in the off season when he was off. So I got to know Adam O'Brien and Sullivan and Peter Parr and Blake Green and Kalyn. Very happy group, and you can see by the way they've started, and they look like they're on the right trajectory. It's not if there's rumours around that he's talking to other clubs or thinking about moving because he wants to win a comp. That doesn't mean he wants to leave. It just means that this guy is elite. Like this guy wants to win premierships. Yeah. He's done everything in the game. He's got one more thing to tick it off, and that's win a comp.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean he wants to go, but it gets to a point where do I have to leave to try and get the highest accolade that you can in the game, you know?
Yeah.
So, the question is, he's happy and he doesn't want to be anywhere else, and you're going to see the best of Kalyn this year, regardless.
He just wants the players around him. I think Fletcher Sharp has been outstanding in the last 2 games. Dylan Brown comes in, that's another attacking weapon.
He's a gun.
Isn't he just a natural footballer?
Just runs.
Right? And a good Aussie haircut. Great mullet.
He's from Newcastle.
Yeah. What are you trying to say?
Well, if you run out with a surfboard on the field,
he would
skateboard,
look,
but it's very Newcastle.
He's very
the
Newcastle.
Winger. What's the winger's name again?
Schiller.
He's very Newcastle too.
Yeah.
They look very comfortable there. You know? It's a little, it's a little surfy town.
Yeah.
And they got even Kalyn fits in there well. They got like little.
He's got the little emo tattoos,
and that,
I'm different tattoos.
Yeah.
But he's great, mate.
I'm different.
Listen, I've got a little bit of a prediction, Braith, and I've had to get our little investigator here onto it. I've got a prediction that Kalyn will pledge his allegiance to the Kiwis if he can play for New Zealand in the World Cup, which is next year. I've just got there were rumours, but then you've got the New Zealand 5'8" coming to the club. If he doesn't play Queensland this year and he's eligible to play for New Zealand in the World Cup, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I mean, I suppose further strengthen that prediction, he did pull out of the test team at the end of didn't make himself available at the end of last year when he was in good form and he had no injuries. So then there was a big question mark over whether he wanted to play for Australia at that point. everyone knows he's had this underlying sort of feeling to play for either the All Blacks or New Zealand. Whether he would risk that or risk Origin to do that, not play for Queensland because he's very passionate about Queensland. That's the big thing. Will he sit out? Because he's got to sit out a couple of years. Is that right?
So there's a 3-year stand down period for Tier 1 nations, which we both fit into. But, and our man here, he's pretty cluey, old Ren.
Is he?
He said,
Well, he's just undermined my prediction. He's saying, well, it's pretty much it.
Oh, mate, don't worry. The white shirts are sticking together here,
Right.
even though you
How
bench
have I
me.
got against it? How have you turned this into?
Well, that's all right. Keep
Calm
going.
down, Batman.
So he said, is there a loophole? And good old chap GPT, it has all the answers. Now, this is a very cloudy answer. It states that there could be a switch after 2 years, and in some cases, it doesn't exactly say.
It'll go to
It can be waived in some cases particularly if the player has a strong connection to the nation they're switching to.
right. There you go.
Jesus.
So it'll go on.
Does
to,
he have a New Zealand jersey at home from when he was a kid? That's probably strong enough.
Oh, he was born there.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's
He's got a strong connection.
Absolutely, and I'm all for it. I mean, I understand what it means to be a half caste or and wanting to represent my culture. You've played for Greece, mate.
Greece. Yeah,
you know, I play for Samoa, and it doesn't. And I love. I was going to say what we usually say, but I'll keep it off we'll keep it off the podcast, mate. And I understand that the connection he has to his heritage, and it doesn't undermine the fact that how important the green and gold jersey is. It's the most prestigious jersey there is. But when it comes to your culture and representing your family, if he wants to do it, I support it.
I think he really deep down does.
Of course. And it's an itch you need to scratch. And I had it for the majority of my career because when we played for Samoa, we played at the end. Yeah. But now you see the players playing at the start of their career.
Yeah. No, it's a big decision. I think he's a big chance of doing it, but time will tell. Time will tell. But I think it's something that in his career he's wanted to do, and he that may well be top of the list for him before too long. So it's a fair prediction.
Well, you've heard it.
So I don't know how I went against you, but if you feel comfortable. How do you feel now? Do you feel better?
I feel good.
I feel good.
So you heard it here first on.
Yeah. Heard it here first.
We'll give him all the credit as well.
Don't worry about Buzz and Wadler.
You just stay there, Robin, mate. You just stay there. Mate, just going off based off what we've seen so far, the data suggests that the four juggernauts are Penrith, Broncos, Storm, and Manly.
Yeah.
Right? If there are any injuries...
Well, you're missing Cronulla, who are in the market ahead of.
No. Based on the data of the games that we've seen so far, Sharks lost. Those 4-1.
Sorry, back to the bench.
Just stay there, Aiden, blue shirt. Relax. I don't need water yet.
Wow, that's disrespectful.
Wow, I built him up, and now he's just knocking me down.
I built myself up. Just based off what we've seen, which team struggles the most if they lose any key players?
This is interesting because usually in the past, let's go. The main one.
Start with Penrith.
We'll start with Penrith. Penrith in the past have had a lot more depth, right? And they keep losing players every year, which it's the next man up mentality. I don't think there's been any concern, and they've got the job done regardless of who's left. When you've had Kikau, Taruva, Luai, Crichton, Burton, like it's crazy. But I think for the first time, if they do start getting injuries, especially if Nathan went down, they don't have the depth that they've had in the past in key positions. So Luai's gone. I think they've got Jack Cole there at the moment.
Schneider
can do a job.
He's done a job.
But again, I think if Nathan's still there, they're fine. They can feel the six easy. But if Nathan goes down, they'd be in some trouble. Yeah, they wouldn't be where they have been the past few years and get away with it. That's what I believe. But apart from that, if Nathan stays fit, they're fine. And Isaiah, if Isaiah went down, they'd probably struggle a bit too, right? I think them two.
That's the link to Nathan.
Yeah.
I think they could struggle even more if Yowie went down.
Yeah.
Even Leota with no Fisher Harris.
With no Fisher Harris anyhow. So for the first time, and this is worst case scenario. They might not get any injuries.
Yeah.
But that they would be vulnerable. And then Manly are in trouble. Like if they lose Tom.
Yeah.
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 Because I think Manly kind of bought Brooks, and Brooks started really well last year, and you thought this is perfect for Manly because if Tom goes down or DCE, they've got Brooks there, right, which strengthens them. And because in the past they just couldn't play without. If Tom or DCE went down, they were gone.
Yeah.
And he kind of under-delivered there as the year went on when they didn't have Tom. It was like, Brooksy's done great there, but has he got it to sort of carry the team by himself without Tom or DCE? So the fact is, you agree, right? Without Tom, they can't win a comp.
No.
Yeah.
Mate, I just to go further on Manly, just what I saw last week, like just stick into a game plan. That was the perfect game plan.
Yeah.
Take Dearden out of the game. Send Olakau'atu at him. They had nothing after that.
Yeah.
I mean, DCE just controlled the ball. Turbo, so they'd go at Dearden, send Olakau'atu, and then send Turbo straight back at him again.
Yeah.
It was horrifying.
They got big, powerful players all across the park, Manly.
My only little bit of criticism of Hamoli was getting him into contact early. I just wanted him injected into the game early. And it seems like DCE, just tell him, get the ball, first set, have a carry, get into contact.
Yeah.
Because when he gets the ball, he's so destructive in attack and defense.
Yeah.
It's like you got to start the beast up inside of him, right?
Yeah.
So just having those three sort of weapons in that side, Brooks is controlling, and you can build a team around that spine. It's an incredible team if they stay fit.
Yeah. It's the consistency with them too, because they even said that after the game. Like Jakey said it, and their challenge is doing it every week.
Yeah,
they're kind of like, a bit like North Queensland on the other side. They're kind of inconsistent too. They can have a shocker and then put on 30 or 40 the next week. It's.
Yeah, and it kind of sort of with Nanai getting dropped and Todd Payton sort of drawing a line in the sand and saying, hey, with Nanai going back to wherever he's going in the Queensland Cup, he came onto the scene as a 19-year-old, plays Origin, has an outstanding year. Last year dropped off a bit, was missing his assignments in certain areas. It's like they don't have the mental fortitude across the park because you're going into his third year, he's missing assignments again. It's hard to be a top line. Like if you make it to the top, you want to play Origin. You want to be at the top of your game for at least 10 years. That's an expectation. Or you can't afford to have too many off games.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could be an attitude thing across the board there. Not an attitude, that's the wrong word, but I don't think they've got it there. Yeah, that resilience to play 26 rounds or 27 rounds.
It's been their challenge for a few years. I'm actually really interested to see the game this week, Cowboys Sharks, to see both teams. I mean, the Cowboys for what you just mentioned, and their bounce back after that poor loss against Manly, and then you got the Sharks. Vegas, big trip back, lost round one. No, they weren't poor. They were pretty good. Just couldn't get over Penrith, But how are they going to respond? I think it's up in North Queensland, isn't it, the game? Pretty sure.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm really that's what I'm interested to see what happens. You'd think that Cronulla would come back and win, but I'm not. I'm still not.
You're just not sold.
I wouldn't tip with confidence. You know what I mean?
You're sort of confident on those four, right?
Yeah.
These four juggernauts.
That's what I mean.
Everyone else is kind of.
Yeah.
I'm not 60-40, 70-30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So let's touch on Broncos.
Yeah, the big thing with Broncos, they are amazing, and I think. I've got to say, we got a lot of this right.
We did the preview, we did.
If you look at our preview, with Roosters, we were right.
Yeah.
Broncos were right.
Yeah.
There's a few others. I think the Dogs we tipped to do pretty well.
Yeah.
We're right about that.
Pretty much got almost.
I think we got them all right.
Round.
But the Broncos, we obviously weren't surprised. We predicted this. I mean, not to go too far into the performance itself, because, we could go all day on that, but it didn't surprise us how fit they were, how fast they were, how meticulous they were, how relentless they were, the athletes they've got, the potential they've got,
meticulous
experience they've got now. So if a player goes down, they've got Hunt and Reynolds. They only need one of them fit. They've got Ezra Mam coming back, Reese at the back. even Corey Pakes did a really good job. Walters did a good job when he came on, so they've got a bit of depth there as well, and they can move Hunt to 9 if they need to when Ezra Mam comes. Like they've got
Carrigan and Huss.
Carrigan and Huss,
unbelievable.
yeah.
And what they did with the Roosters is just chop the tree. They were turning players under, just saying, we're going to stay at the middle here. We're getting too much joy. They weren't trying to pull the trigger all the time. They had great game management. And it's hard to stop a Huss coming back under the ruck. And like, what is he? Fucking 6'5" and 130 kilos. Runs like the wind.
Yeah.
Mate, they're a fucking good team.
Yeah. They firmed from $8.50 to $6 after that one game. So they're no longer big outsiders.
Yeah. Well, that's right. You have them as a big outsider, didn't you?
No, I said
they're my roughie.
You're roughie. Yeah. Well, that's what we did have a laugh about last time.
See,
anyway.
You're out. Yeah, too good.
The big roughies are now firmed in.
Yeah.
That's a good punter there. That's a sign of a good punter finding a firmer. Well done, Ram.
And that Storm. Let's talk about the Storm, mate. How's Cameron going? You know, and we'll talk about the Storm, but I want to know about Cameron as well.
Yeah, Cameron's bouncing off the walls. He's feeling so. Like I could tell.
Good, man.
I spoke to we had a few good catch ups in the preseason. And he just looked really good. He had that. You know, when you carry an injury for a whole year, and you know, I've had it myself. You've probably had it, and you know when you step on that field, you just know when you're 100%. He was at probably 60, 50% some games, 60. He got to probably 70 by the back end of the year. But when no one really knows, and you're on that field and you can't give 100%, it's so frustrating, especially as a competitor like him. So getting both his hips done in the preseason, and then he's lost 4 or 5 kilos. You know, he's in such a good mood. He's off the drink. But he just, you know, I've been watching him warm up before the game because I did the game on Fox on the Sunday ticket, and he was G'ing the boys up, bouncing around, chipping, chasing, like, like, you know, you could just see he had that spring in his step. I'm thinking he's on. This is going to be good. And then he just went bang, bang, bang. They were all on, mind you, but he's going to have a big year. I've got no doubt about that. And, you know, and we did speak about this too last time. Melbourne had Jerome had injury cloud over him last year as well. Like he was carrying injuries. They got Stefano Utoikamanu coming into the squad. Harry's fully fit. Pappenhausen's come back flying. They are the real deal this year.
He cost me an anytime try scorer. He should have given the ball to Cam. But
that was
fucking hell, Pat. Give it to him next time.
He would have been so filthy.
They look sharp, mate. Yeah. Coates, Warbrick.
Yeah.
The centre's name,
Howarth.
Even he's looking.
Mate, he's a back row in the centres too, so he'll end up in the back row. Their forwards are only going to get stronger. Yeah. But he
probably will, yeah.
He'll end up there in a few years.
The thing that I found was crazy, Pappy to keep the pace that he has, like his acceleration. Because I thought Walsh was fast.
Off the scrum there on that inside trail, right? The back row couldn't get in near him.
Like, so as an edge back rower, defending against someone like that, what's that like?
Basically, it's horrible. I remember when Billy Slater would come at me. He's just gone. See you later.
Scrum's your most vulnerable because you're just isolated and you're waiting for the guy to come from inside, and you just wait and then it's a very vulnerable situation with speedy guys.
Have they? And you talk about. Let's talk about their depth, right? So you got Jonah, Pezzett,
I think that going back to what we're talking about with the other three.
Yep.
If Melbourne get injuries, they're fine because if one of Jerome or Cameron go down, they've still got the other one. And then you got young Jonah, who's just re-signed there, who's, a great half in the making, who can come in. And then
you got Sewell Farlongle.
Yeah, Farlongle.
For Pappenhausen.
Yeah. Even as a 14, or you got Wishart. And then you got, you've got Harry Grant and Pappenhausen as it is, they're fine.
So it's probably Manly would be your biggest concern if Turbo goes down.
Only if Turbo.
Yeah.
Because,
DCE to some capacity.
And DC,
they've got a great kicking game.
They're so important in that team.
Yeah, so they've got to stay fit.
They need both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas if you look at every other team we just mentioned, they could lose one, if not two players and still be all right,
Yep.
Do you have them second favourites now, Brisbane, in your market?
No. I'd still have I'd have Melbourne, Penrith, Brisbane. That's how I'd have it. And, but I think any three of them can win the comp. But Brisbane, I want to see evidence still. Brisbane were great, but I want to see a couple of months. Whereas the other two are going to be there.
We'll look at that after round 2.
Yeah, need a couple of months.
Yeah. And can Manly win the comp if they stay sound?
Yeah, but they need to stay. They need nearly every player.
Let's just hypothetically say that they stay fit. Fuck, I wouldn't want to come up against them in a major semi.
Imagine the grand final was played at 4 Pines. That's what they need.
Yeah, mate. Just the way Turbo was moving and just that combination of just. They're dangerous.
Again, there's a long way to go there.
Long way to go.
With Melbourne and Penrith, you know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
Whereas
spot on.
These two, they've been great, but it's 1 week.
Yeah.
And they'll play more great than not, and that's why they'll be up there. But there's a long way.
You couldn't have said it better. Let's get into the quick preview to our gambling friend here.
Your little punter, mate.
Show us who plays this week.
All right. We have tonight, which is going to be horrifying for us, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We've got the Warriors at home against the Sea Eagles. And I'll give you the prices. They're $3.40 the Warriors. You're $1.32 Manly away from 4 Pines.
Yeah, no.
You first, friend.
No, I can't go past Manly, mate. Just after what I saw last week and basically what you saw from the Warriors. At the team who's in the halves?
Give me 1 second.
For Warriors?
Did they put Tamari Martin back in? Tamari?
I don't think they did.
No, Luke Metcalf. He's playing in
Tavita.
Yeah.
Harris Tavita.
Harris Tavita, yeah.
Look, I understand Webby's selection there if he wants to build a bit of a combination, I guess, moving forward. The experiment's over if it doesn't work in the halves for him again, though.
Yeah, no, I agree. Manly you can't go against, and Warriors, I called that game in Vegas, and they were really, really ordinary. Really ordinary. Metcalf and Harris Tavita just went sideways. They didn't play square or direct at all. I think Metcalf's got to have run-first mentality, and then his passing game will take care of itself. He was just thinking pass and too worried about steering the side around.
Yeah, they're too much block for block for block. Hit the lead runners, break it down, chop the tree.
Yeah.
So
even if you look long to play short, or you're setting a team up by going block, 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 and then you start going through the front door. They just didn't have any variation at all. And I think Roger on the wing, Roger had 20 runs for over 200 metres in Vegas, but it was all out of his own end.
It didn't feel like he was that involved even with the 200 metres, right?
Klukstar was very ordinary in that game and non-committal, and he wasn't invisible in good ball, and he came up with a few poor errors. I'm having Roger at fullback every day of the week over Chance. It's only early again, but I think I think Webster's probably doing the right thing and giving them all a crack after Vegas again in those key positions. But if it goes to shit this week, I reckon there's a big mix up.
You don't go to wait till round 5. You change it straight away.
Who has till round 5 these days?
Well, that some coaches are stubborn. Well, that's the thing. Some coaches are stubborn and say, no, this is going to work. I'm sticking with this.
Yeah.
I don't care about the outside noise.
I think a lot would depend on if they do lose, how they lose. If it's a close game, because you're playing Manly. But if it's another convincing win to Manly, they're going to have to change.
Doing change up. All right, we've got Penrith at Winks odds at $1.04 against our beloved Chookies. A little shout out to him in Hugo Savala.
Yeah, Hugo, congratulations, mate, and good luck. He's a great kid, great young kid. Look, Penrith, we don't need to go dive into this too much. And I don't want to go in on the Roosters. I think they've heard enough noise from people like me and other people about where they're struggling. It's a fact that they didn't need their players that left to have such a good game in Satili and Terrell May. It just dug the daggers in a bit further. But, Penrith.
Yeah, poor Chookies. I think it's just all caught up to them a bit, and we saw it. Well, all of us saw it coming. I don't know how they didn't. That's what's got me a bit surprised by it all. They struggled. What surprised me is that Robbo said they worked really hard and their effort areas were good. I don't know if he was watching the same game I was. Their marker work and short side and some of their outside backs weren't even chasing back that. No one gonna need to ask there.
So
I know he's not played the game that long. He's new, but he didn't even turn around and chase a few times. And if he had, he would have stopped the try or two. I was more concerned about that.
Yeah.
So the first try Brisbane scored, he ran under the post. No one came No, there was
a lot of that.
There was no effort there,
there's
right?
heaps of that.
And there was two short side defensive mislapses where they just got it completely wrong.
Yeah.
Sandham Smith comes out of the line, someone stays back,
Yeah.
and then they got Brisbane on a short side and they did it perfectly. They used the try line as a defender, peeled back, waited for the marker, solved it.
Yeah.
You couldn't have got two better examples of what to do and what not to do.
They didn't look connected at all. Like even Tupou, the most
was
reliable, consistent winger for so long now. Even he looked a bit at sea, which
One shining light, Rob Toyer.
Bro, he's
I
a
want to
gun.
give a big rap to him.
He's
He's
a
had
gun.
two knee recos he's had.
Yeah.
There's been raps
Give us a
bigger than Chris.
background. Where is he from? Is
He's
he-
an East. He's been with the club for a long time.
okay.
I've heard whispers around how good this kid is for so long.
Yeah.
He was a shining
He
light.
was,
The way he set up his tries, his effort
He
areas.
is fucking outstanding.
so
That was it.
I mean,
That and the pies at half time.
I hope they improve each week, and they got a good enough team to be competitive again. But to go Broncos like that, and if they get pumped by Penrith, all of a sudden the confidence starts getting hit, and
Gonna have to go over to the Warriors
I
next
think
week.
there was a lot of just shitty errors too. Like
Yeah.
simple drop balls from the debutants, from the young kids.
yeah,
I mean, you don't want to be making those errors so early in your career, I guess. But anyway, they got their work cut out from the old Roosters.
They do.
All right, we go to Wynn Stadium. We have St George $1.48 against the mighty South Sydney Rabbitohs $2.67.
I found this the hardest one to pick for the
Yeah,
round.
that's why I'm letting you go.
Yeah, this is the hardest one. I think.
Go Batman.
Start with the Dragons. I thought they were ordinary last week. Just too many errors. They were lucky to sort of come back into the game, but when they did, at least they showed signs of, fight and ability to put on points. They were a hell of a lot better in their trials than they were in that round one. And South were just a typical kind of Wayne Bennett, no nonsense, get the job done, And I think they'll continue to do that without Murray and Latrell, and not less. They'll just play conservative, try not to make too many errors, and then just get the tries whenever they can, kind of down in good field position. So this is the hardest one. I'll probably just lean towards the Dragons because I think the Dragons will hit back after last week. I think Flano will put a rocket up at them. They'll play a lot more conservative and a lot smarter. And at Wynn Stadium might be just enough for them to get home.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the hometown advantage, mate. I'm going to go Dragons as well. Even on paper, they've got a better side, but I can't really put my finger on what is missing from the Dragons, and I just think they should beat South, especially with that roster and Latrell and Cam and all that out. The shining light for South is that young halfback.
Yeah, Humphreys played really well.
98 kilos.
He's a big boy.
Big boy, eh?
He ripped up. His legs are huge.
Well, I think his short sizes could get a couple of sizes bigger too.
He's got his.
And poor old Tyron Munro just did the
he's
collarbone. I felt sorry for him, and he was a shining light for them, definitely.
He was. His play started good.
Playing really good footy. All right, North Queensland Cowboys look to bounce back. $3.25. Cronulla Sharks $1.35.
Yeah, we kind of spoke about this one.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go Cronulla just because they should, but I don't have no confidence in that.
Yeah, I'm the same as Braith. The Sharks.
All right, this is one I'm really intrigued. We'll start with you, Braith. I want to get your thoughts. Canberra Raiders at home, $4.45. I thought they were good. Brisbane Broncos $1.21.
I think it's good value for Canberra. I think Canberra were so good in Vegas. Like, Warriors were average, but Canberra were relentless, so quick. Like Savage and Timoko, like they're on that right edge. Like if you give them an inch, they're gone. And they've seemed to have added an element of class where they had errors in them, both of them, especially Savage. But Savage was always the gun, prodigy coming through like so fast, and now he's filled out too. And I think if they, with confidence, they'll be even better. Those two, and Strange was really good for they're 5'8". Like he's getting better.
You know what you're going to get from Canberra.
Yeah.
Right? They're a real gritty, tough side. You know you're going to go down there and you're going to feel it. Feel contact. That's Ricky's short side. But now you see points in them.
Yeah.
With Savage, Tim McCall. I really loved what the Tapane, Papali'i,
The offloads.
Horsburgh, the second phase play. They'll match Broncos.
Yeah.
They'll go at them.
Yeah.
Hey, this is $4.45.
Yeah.
I might have something on that.
Does it sound like we're leaning towards Canberra?
I know, like
no,
I'd be.
So the line here, I'll give you this. We'll give you this as the option. You've got 13.5 start. Do you want to take 13.5 start?
Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. We found one. All right, we move on. Parramatta Eels, $2.23 against West Tigers, $1.66.
This is another tough one.
Jerome Luai versus Brown, in essence. He says that's.
I just think Parramatta were pretty ordinary last week, and
did you expect that? Did you expect a 50-point game? Like I knew Melbourne would.
I expected
hard
a big
to
one.
beat.
Not that much. No, not that much. I expected a pretty convincing win with Moses out. I think Parramatta, they've got a few back in too, right? Lane, I think, comes back in. I don't know if Madison's back or not.
No, he's playing him in reserve grade.
Okay, but Lane's in.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to get better with it. And I think they finished the game reasonably well against
they won
Melbourne.
the second half.
Yeah, so I think they'll
won the second half.
Yeah,
love it.
We won the second half.
Yeah. You ever push that statement?
I think it's more the Tigers that intrigue me because they should have won last week really because Newcastle just were terrible in the first half, and they did get all the bounces of the ball, the Tigers, in that game. And then when the game was on the line, they were just fatigued and fizzled out and really didn't fire a shot. So was it an improvement? Yeah, it was. But where are they at? And kind of how are they going to bounce back? And can they start getting some wins on the board? There's a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
Because they got Buller back and Coruscant.
There were,
Which leans me towards tipping them because of that.
Yeah.
Like I'd go Tigers, right?
Appy back's got to be huge.
Yeah.
There was probably the 50th minute mark where Newcastle started putting some pressure on them and the momentum swung to Newcastle and they went back to their old ways, the Tigers. They worried me there. They've still got that little bit of
scar tissue
of the previous years. So they were good for 60 minutes. I don't think they pulled the trigger enough. It wasn't a quality 60 minutes where they could have pulled the trigger more, but they were good.
Yeah.
And there were just patches and it probably accumulated 20 minutes where they went back to some old habits.
You didn't see the one thing they had last year was they had a really good strike. I think Appy coming back this week will help bring that, like get him on that front foot to play that more attacking footy. Because he's so accelerate. Like,
do you think the Galvin Luai thing's going to work? Because I noticed some periods in the game where
we said it, that's one thing we said too, right? They're very similar.
They're very similar.
And they're very off the cuff. They're very, they drift across field and they screw. I think Galvin's so much potential. Yeah. But they both were looking at each other at the back end of the game though. No one really went here or you get here, I'll stand, like you go at him, I'll back you. Like there was none of that. I was watching them both at the end of the game and they were both kind of doing these ones and they didn't even fire a shot.
Well, there were periods where one of them wanted the ball and they were just looking back, hey, do I let my halfback, my captain take it? It just looked a little bit
I think through Coruscant would be really good for him.
Yeah.
I think
takes the pressure off setting up too. Like he can get that jump out, quick play the ball, he can get him on the front line, on the vantage line.
He almost plays that 9-7, doesn't he? In the fact of we're going this way, we're going that way.
I'm purely off the back of Dylan Brown signing with Newcastle. I think I'm going to get back Para. I think he's going to be up for a big game.
Tigers.
Okay. I could feel that coming. All right. Well, we've got the two Bulldogs grades here. $1.47. $1.41 the Dogs. Gold Coast $2.92. And just last year, as a stat, the team's coming off the bye. I don't know how much from round one that was, but teams coming off the bye had a really good stat.
Really?
Yeah.
You go first.
I saw Big Tino yesterday. Actually, I spoke to him. He was down Maroubra on a bike. So hopefully,
I saw you drove past mine in Coogee too.
Yeah, he
must have come all the way.
He came to Maroubra.
Yeah.
Mason and I sat with him for about an hour, having a chat. He's a specimen, that kid. I'd never met him before. I'm actually a big fan.
Went for dinner before.
No. I just looked up at Maroubra and I'm looking and going, this is Tino. Like I'm actually a massive fan of the kid.
Did you exchange numbers?
Yeah,
No.
Mate, he's a
Get
big
a signed
kid.
jersey off him?
I will ask him for I want his Australian jersey. I don't want a Titan one. I'll take a Queensland one, actually.
You grow a mullet like him.
Yeah. I've tried.
Fuck, how big is the boy though?
He's a good bloke.
He's
He's a
eye
good
to
bloke
eye
too.
with Mace. I'm just going, fuck me.
Top bloke too, eh?
Yeah, great kid.
So is your height 6'1"?
Great kid. Yeah, he's just shorter than me. Look, Dogs back to Belmore as well. It's going to be hard to beat them now. Pretty exciting for the club to get a game back at Belmore. I was going to go, but it's 36 degrees. Dogs should win.
Dogs should win.
They should win
You'd
comfortably.
be sweating bullets at 36
Oh
degrees.
my god, yeah.
Dogs win.
Dogs just win.
Yeah, Dogs win. At home, Belmore, I'm already concerned about the Titans as it is with no four and,
Hang on, Foz is out for.
He's out for a while, isn't he?
Is he?
Didn't he do his bicep? Didn't
Yeah,
he
I'm not
tear his
sure.
bicep? He's not playing, is he?
You work for 360, mate.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
He's not playing. Is he?
1 second.
He's out for a while.
He's out.
Yeah.
He's out for a long while.
Yeah.
AJ Brimson's 5'8".
Who's half?
What's his name? Jaden Campbell.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So they got Keno Guinea, mate. Can I say one thing about
Yeah,
these?
you know what?
They've got a solid side.
That's better than I thought.
They've got a very good roster.
Who's the? Give us the starting pack. RCG still.
So they've got how do you pronounce it? Moeki Fodawaka.
Yeah, Fodawaka. They've got a solid pack, right?
Yeah, they've got Regal Campbell Gillard. They've got Khaleesi Haas, Firma.
Yeah. All right, I'll still go with the Dogs.
You can't go against the Dogs at Belmore, and especially after their round one performance. But that's going to be closer than I thought. The more we delved into that.
So your one bet of the round is for you?
Is that the round done?
That's the round done.
Canberra
The Canberra with the start. And you?
I'll go the same. I think there's a lot of sure things, like in terms, but the value would be terrible.
Yeah.
Like
So then $1.91 the start. We'll have it into Rose Hill Race 6, number 12, Delucci Boulevard. $3.30. I think that's there's your running double for the weekend, punters.
Beautiful.
All right, thank you. Braith, absolute pleasure, mate. Very short notice, minimal preparation. You're obviously sick. Thanks for today, mate. I look forward to the year with you.
Big time.
And
I'm looking forward to it. We'll make this bigger and better with every episode. Now we've got some time to actually have a look at it and set it up, and hopefully Robin can follow his Batman.
And I just think anything as well, lots of comments, mate. Anything that people do want to see, please do comment
100%
to us.
actually, and that's with our loyal small community that we had going from last year. Feel free to comment. YouTube, Instagram, whatever our social platforms are, because we'll read them and we'll give you feedback.
Yeah.
So all the feedback you give us, it's great. And don't forget to like and subscribe. There you go.
Like and subscribe.
See you next week.
What are you prepared to lose today? Set a deposit limit. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.